The ritual service, every single time I do the ritual service, my ancestors, my Idisir, okay, my feminine ancestors, come and surround me in this circle. I feel chills right now. We are entering a very exciting time in the history of the human race. 2027, the shift. There's a space for this very matrilineal grandmother energy, okay? Doesn't matter what gender identity you are, doesn't matter, your orientation, doesn't matter. What I am learning through working with my ancestors is that there is, and always has been since ancient times, a very special place for queer and trans people in spiritual roles. And this type of role, this type of special place is coming forth more in our current time and our current day and age. The fact is that regardless of gender identity, anybody who is comfortable enough with their sexuality and who they are inside and out to get deeply in touch with the masculine and the feminine energies within themselves is going to have access to more power. Now, if your identity itself spans both of these energies beyond these energies that go from one energy to the other, having some flavor of understanding both the masculine and the feminine and the hermaphroditic blend within the self, within the lived experience of the body, the emotion, the gender, the identity, the self-concept. This gives you access to a very primal, this very primordial goddess and god together energy in the body. And there is absolutely a lineage, my blood lineage. You may have experienced this in your ancestral lineage, okay? For me, there are definitely transcestors that are with me, okay? Trans ancestors who may not have been called that in that time. Growing up to find that, this person who we assumed would be a man is actually much more feminine, female in their spirit, in their energy. And then they end up taking a role in society. And in my case, there are at least 3 trans feminine ancestors who consciously chose to take the role of the vulva path, okay, the shamanic feminine female role in the Norse society, okay, on that side of my family tree. And this was practiced for a long time, and some of you may disagree with me, and some people may put comments saying no, and the Vikings didn't do that. I'm not talking about the Vikings. I'm talking about long before the Vikings, y'all. Like, these are the ancestors that have made contact with me through ritual, ceremony, initiation, ancestral workings, ancestral visitation, the ritual service. Every single time I do the ritual service, my ancestors, my Idisir, okay, my feminine ancestors, come and surround me in this circle. I feel chills right now. We are entering a very exciting time in the history of the human race. 2027, the shift. There's a space for this very matrilineal grandmother energy, okay? Doesn't matter what gender identity you are, doesn't matter, your orientation, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, what I want to say. Anybody can make this connection with the feminine, the goddess energy, this original creatrix, okay, that existed, I'm getting chills again, existed before the light came into being, okay, the dark mother. This is the void, the dark matter force that makes up most of the universe. Most of the universe is dark matter, dark energy. Have you ever noticed that some of the most powerful saints, sages, and yogis throughout time have had a very strong connection with the mother, okay, the divine mother? And my teachers, every single one of my teachers that I've had so far has this, okay? Shiva Bala Yogi, he's, well-known Indian saint, powerful teacher. He constantly talked about the Divine Mother, his love for the Divine Mother, his devotion, his connection, like this, like a child. Amachi, the hugging saint. I followed her for 13 years. I love her. She is, considered to be, by many, an incarnation of the Divine Mother. And she, in her own practice and in her own teachings, teaches that you should become like a child of the Divine Mother. Jeremiah Schwartz, Onami, Mami Onami, a powerful teacher, she teaches a form of prayer to the Divine Mother that's very emotional. Try to cry, try to bring yourself to tears when you speak to her. The love, the call, the ache, the crying out of a child to the mother cannot resist that. The mother will not, she will come running. She will come running. And this is very much a part of my Norse ancestry. All of my blood lineages, this is a part of them, right? But specifically in the Norse bloodline that I'm talking about, these Idisir that follow me and come into the ritual service every time I do another ritual, part of the ritual service, okay, that I offer. And they come in the circle, and I ask them to help the participants, and I ask them to help the participants become great souls, that they may know, not only if they choose to learn these, the Norse mysteries, okay, the powers of Odin and the Valkyries, okay, if that's their jam, but also whatever path they're following now, that their path will be empowered, and that the right path for them will unfold very naturally, and that their fates, if there is any negative karma that they have to burn off, that it will be taken care of quickly and more easily, more in a smooth, easeful way that is very conscious and helps the participant get to the next level faster. This very Divine Mother, goddess and dark mother sort of practice, teaching and initiatory mystery tradition is deeply ingrained in the Norse, in my Norse blood lineage, okay, my bloodline. This teaching from being a young child that would be given, especially from the grandmothers and, the elders and the vulvas and those who would come through, the wise ones, would teach the younger people that, the fates control everything. The Norns, these powerful, dark, feminine forces that decide everything before our birth, that everything is laid out, everything is spun, okay? I'm getting chills again. that, Freya and the goddess, Freya, the mother, will always help those who are brave, the warriors, and will come to their aid. The Valkyries will come to their aid. A lot of people hear the stories about the Valkyries, Odin, the Valkyries, the Vikings, the Einherjar, the warriors, and there's a really strong, powerful, important teaching behind that, which is that those who follow their path with courage, whether they're a warrior or, playing some other role, if you have that fervor, that courage in your spirit, that you're on the right path for you and you're in alignment with where you're meant to go according to your design, that you will be aided, I'm getting chills again, you'll be aided by the feminine spirits, which in my tradition, a lot of times were called Valkyries, okay? And, sometimes these Valkyries were actually connected to the vulvas, and the witches and the spirits of women, the spirits of awake women who were around and helping. These powerful helper spirits, these sometimes ancestral spirits, the Idisir, okay? The unwritten history of the queer and trans witches and shamans, the vulvas, the feminine, the people who had the contact with the feminine spirit. But even, the most cis-het man could have a connection with the feminine spirit, the feminine power, the power of the goddess Freya, the power of the Norns, through like that umbilical cord type of connection to the Divine Mother. This type of devotional and deep respect, deep admiration, deep reliance upon the Divine Mother. Remember, the Valkyries carried the fallen warriors to their next level. The Valkyries did that when the warriors couldn't get up anymore, when they were going through their complete death process and were debilitated, That's when they recognized they needed the aid of a feminine spirit that was connected with them physically, emotionally, mentally. We need everyone in their own uniqueness, their own unique design. And we should celebrate that. May we all enter into a new phase of our own power and a deeper connection with this Divine Mother, this most powerful feminine force, the source of the universe, source of all creation, the Dark Mother, the great womb, okay, from which all things spring forth from. Whatever your gender identity is, your orientation, may this force empower you, whether you live the experience of feeling and identifying as female in this lifetime, or whether you live the experience of being in between, okay, whether that's, trans, bigendered, multigendered, non-binary, or, if you identify as a man, may you enter, and especially if you identify as a man, may you enter into a new phase of your own personal power and spiritual evolution through your umbilical cord connection with the Divine Mother, living the paradox of being an absolutely courageous, committed, confident, and strong warrior, and always having that connection of being a child of the Divine Mother from the moment of birth to the moment of death, knowing that ultimately she is what we return to.